What's a good job? On the key with the Benji. Today we are talking about healing. I ain't gonna lie, this is the first episode. It's gonna be visually recorded, so bear with me. I ain't gonna lie, not nervous whatsoever. Not even the slightest. Not even a little inch bit of nervousness going on right now. But yeah, bro. I'm very passionate about this. You know what I mean? Just speaking real, just speaking genuine, being honest and true with, what I mean, anybody I meet. And it's something that we don't do anymore. And I just want to bring that back, and I want to shed light on that. It's like people don't speak about what they're going through. People don't talk to each other like we're really supposed to. And I believe if we actually communicate with each other and we talk to each other instead of being at odds with each other and not communicating, that the world will be in such a better place. I ain't gonna lie, I got my little side notes from the side. So if you catch me looking on the little side, you know what I mean. That's what I'm doing. I am gonna be speaking from the heart mostly. You know what I mean. It's a little footnote, something. You know what I mean. People know, but yeah, glad that y'all here. Glad that y'all rocking with me. Let's get it. Um, when it comes to healing, and most people don't know where to start from. And for me, I didn't know where to start from because nobody told me nothing about that. Not about healing when I was growing up. You know what I mean? And with the books and the videos I watch, I think the best place to start from is your childhood. Your childhood is where memories are formed, where where trauma starts. You know what I mean? Where things happen that you can't really explain. You can't tell nobody because you think that your voice isn't it's not gonna be heard, right? And I know I felt that when I was a young man. Um, Hopefully, I'm finna put a little picture of my screensaver right now, and that right there is young me. You feel me? And I look at that every day because that young man that you see right there, he was broken. He was hurt. He was lost. You know what I mean? The voices in his head, he didn't know why they were there. And it was hard. It was hard for me. You know what I mean? I didn't really speak to nobody. I didn't talk to nobody. You know what I mean? I had my friends. I don't know how I got those friends, by the way. To all my Benji boys, I love you from the bottom of my heart. I don't know how y'all got friends with me because I ain't speak to nobody for real. For real. Y'all just gravitated towards me, and I said, I ain't bet. Y'all my niggas. But like, I was so caged in, you know what I mean? Because the thoughts in my head, I didn't want them to be out, you know what I mean? And I put on like a facade basically of who I was as a young man, you know, and I don't want anybody to do that no more. I mean, I don't do it anymore, and people that's young, you know what I mean? I think they do that almost every day, you know what I mean? Especially children who've been through things and can't really explain it, don't know why they're in the situation that they're in, or why they went through the things that they went through, and they ain't got nobody to talk to about it because their parents wasn't taught about healing, no pain, no trauma. The grandparents weren't taught. The great grandparents weren't taught. Ain't nobody taught about this. Nobody talks about it. Nobody cares until it's too late. I used to write a lot as a child um, because I couldn't express what I felt to anybody but myself. Um, I wrote letters to myself. You know what I mean? Most of the time they were very, what's it called? Self-loathing. They were very, like, deprecating because it's what I felt, you know? The unworthiness, the not enoughness. I mean, I would write literally books, pages on pages of what my life was. or what I saw in my head, you know, poetry, um, which is probably why like I love making music now. You know what I mean? And the music I make is never on some shoot a nigga in his face, put a nigga in his place. Yeah, it's never on no type of shit like that. 'Cause it's just not who I am. Um, I speak about real shit. I speak about pain, hurt, love. You know what I mean? Things that I value in life. You know. But as a kid, like I didn't have nothing to value. I didn't value myself. No, I used to write. I wrote to the people that hurt me. You know what I mean? And I would throw them away afterwards, or rip them up, throw them away afterwards. But it's crazy that even then, as a young kid, like I was finding ways to cope with my hurt. You know what I mean? Because things like that, writing to yourself, like visualizing your words, people don't do that. You know what I mean? Their words stay within them. And as a young man, I was visualizing my words and putting it to paper to express myself, which is probably why I have that resolve that I do. When I go through something, I can bounce back with the swiftness because I built that as a child. You know, I had to let go of a lot of resentment, a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, a lot of fear. You know what I mean? Just to move through the world as a young man. And I never let it really grow. I never let it go for real. For real. It was always in me. Nobody saw it because I didn't speak to nobody. Anybody. I always had a mask on. Like a stoic mask, a mask that I mean, a non-emotional, non-expressive mask that nobody, well, they saw it, but they couldn't figure out why I had it. You know, my niggas, um, my niggas say I be on some kumbaya shit, right? And I find it hilarious. I do. It's funny to me, but it's also like it's kind of fucked up that we as a society, especially the black community, we disregard feelings. We disregard our mental health. We disregard our emotional state, and we just deal with it in our own special ways. And when a black man is speaking like I do, it's seen as not problematic, but like different. And one thing I've learned from being different is that it scares people. It scares people away. It creates boundaries. But being different also creates growth. I think um I think our normality in this world is dysfunction. You know, we prefer to not be healing, to not talk about what we're going through, to be very fucked up in our brains. We prefer that, because that's the normal, right? The toxicity, that's the normality. We wallow in dysfunction. I wallow for years in that. I think people will see me now, see me talking like the way I do now. It's like that's not the same stuff. It ain't. It's not. I mean, the person that they maybe have known, he ain't gone. He always gonna be there. But I had to grow out of my dysfunction to become the person that I am today. And the journey that I'm on ain't stopping for nobody, right? The journey of healing, it's an everlasting one. You can't you can't really stop that. Because the day you stop that is the day you stop yourself. I tell you what, I have a I have a deep love for my family, right, and my friends, and any potential partner that I may have. Like my heart is heavy, right. But the person I love the most is my mother, and that will always be that, right. But my mother couldn't do everything for me. My mother, she taught me how to be a caring, kind, loving person. Um, but she couldn't teach me how to be no man, how to stand on my shit, how to be a man of integrity, how to live like a man. I had to learn that on my own, right? And it took a long time for me. You know what I mean? When I moved out when I was like what, like 19. I moved out when I was 19. I was not ready for the world, but I knew that I had to just throw myself at it. And it's safe to say that I wasn't ready. Was not ready whatsoever. I got hit with a big ball of depression uh, when I was like 20, like 20. I had a good ass job. Lost it, and that was a failure, right? And I have a crippling fear of failure. I don't like to fail. I don't like to feel like I've lost, right? So I lost a good ass job, and then I had to, you know, do some dumb shit to pay the bills. You know what I mean? Some no customer service jobs that was paying half of what I was getting, right? And the crazy thing is, like, it was also a food place. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna tell you what the food place was. You know what I mean? But those spinach and feta cheese breads, they was smack. You feel me? Got those for the free on a daily basis. They was free. But like I would not for me to pay the bills. I had to basically take free food from the place. You know what I mean? And I would just go home, right to work. There was no extracurricular activities. It was just work, um, weed, corn. Change that C into a P. You feel me? Because of YouTube, can't really say shit like that. But like that's what my life was for shit, maybe 4 months. 4 months of that. You know what I mean? And I know I'm being very open with this, but it's just like I ain't the only one going through it. I know that for a fact. Ain't nobody else gonna talk about it, but I know that I'm not the only one. And people need to hear that. People need to feel that they need to know that they're not the only one that it's hurting, right? And I had to truly realize um, why I was coping with weed, corn, food, right? I had to realize why I had to do that inner child healing, that introspection. If you don't know what inner child healing is, that's basically what I'm doing when I showed you the screensaver. A picture of me, just looking at myself, going back in time basically, and seeing what happened to me. And I've only expressed this to a few people in my life. Um, as a young man, I was introduced to intimacy and porn, ooh, YouTube, for a long, or at a young age, right? And I didn't know that was going to affect me until, well, I didn't know that it affected me growing up, right? You hide certain things, you tuck shit deep down, and trust me when I say I forgot, I forgot that even happened to me, right? And I'm good now. I learned to forgive, and nobody knows besides one friend, the person who did it, and myself, and that's cool. You know what I mean? I don't need to tell everybody exactly what happened. You know what I mean? I'm telling you what I've been through, but I'm just being real and transparent with you. Right? That way you know like where I'm coming from and why I do this. But yeah, like that experience that I had at a young age, it caused me to change how I saw people, how I saw myself, how I saw love, how I saw intimacy, and I didn't know because as a child, ain't nobody telling me what's like how I should feel, right? Because ain't nobody talking to us about our mental health. Nobody. You know, a lot of us are walking around in this world in pain. You know, I saw a stat that shook me. Right, it said only 2% of the world population, and there's 7 billion people on this planet. Only 2% are really going through the mental work. So everybody walking around fucked up. Everybody. There's a there's a person that dies every 11 minutes due to suicide. Think about that shit. Every 11 minutes, somebody gone because their pain was too much to them in their eyes. And I think about that shit on a daily basis because I know people are hurting. I know people are damaged. And not to say I am not either, but I'm also healing. And a lot of people aren't. But we walk around with this invisible backpack on ourselves, you feel me? Weighing 2 tons. Just walk around this earth just wallowing in pain. This man, um, this man Tim Grover, right? This man Tim Grover, he was a personal trainer for Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? Two of one of the greatest athletes of all time, right? He said something that stuck with me, right? He said something like, you know what I mean? When does a new day start? A new day starts at 12 a.m. And at 12 a.m. it's always dark out. So if a new day starts at 12, a new beginning starts at 12, and it's dark out, why do we disregard the dark? Our darkness, our pain, our hurt. We um we prefer to walk around in the light, the quote unquote light. We put a mask on and we give the best of what we can offer, right? You go on a date, you know what I mean? You looking spiffy, you looking good, you feel me? Cologne on, perfume on, you know what I mean? You just looking good, iced out, all that. Yes, you feel me? On that date, you're not really talking about nothing, no. Not for real, for real. You just trying to see if there's a vibe. You know what I mean? And but you don't really talk about something that's real. You know what I mean? When have you ever went out with somebody that you're interested in and talked about things that happened in your childhood or like what you feel on a daily basis? You don't do that. Nobody does that because it's taboo. It's different. We rather hide that. We're only giving 50% of who we are to the world for real, and the other 50% is staying within us. That pain, that hurt, that pain, that hurt. That's all we do. My dog ain't gonna do nothing. You hear that growling? She ain't gonna do nothing. Just looking outside, being stupid. Anyway, yeah, we get a 50% of us. Our darkness we don't show. And when I say darkness, I don't mean like demonic or nothing like that. I mean like our pain, our hurt, our trauma. We don't express that to nobody. We try. I think in order to have a true connection with anybody, you have to give 100% of you, and 100% of you is not all pretty. I was talking to this woman the other day, right, and she she explained to me that there ain't nobody perfect because I said something about myself. I was like I know how I look, you know what I mean, and I quote unquote look like a fuck boy, right? Man, that's attractive and fit all this, right? And I told her that I think people have a perception of me, and she was like, I said I think people have a perception of perfection of me, right? And she was like, ain't nobody perfect, and I told her that yes, that's something I express to every woman or every person that I meet. That I have flaws, that I have pain, I have trauma that I'm still working on, and I will continue to work on it. And I think when a person that looks like me does that, you know, a black, buff, fit man, handsome, all that, right? When somebody like me says something like that, it scares somebody away, or they're confused, like, why does he do this? I do it because I want to be seen for me, all of me, um, and I want to see the person that I'm talking to for them. If I can express my hurt, if I can express my quote unquote inadequacies, they can feel comfortable to do the same. And we have a saying, right? Always stay positive, smile more. I got that a lot of times in my life. You know what I mean? Before I started like just being more open to people and to myself, I never used to smile, right? I never used to put on a happy face because I didn't feel happy. There was no happiness for real in me. We all put on this mask of fake fakeness. How many times do you ask somebody how you doing in a day, and do you really mean that question when you ask it, or is it just like a feeling question, like how you doing? I'm all right. Okay, bye. When I ask that question, I ask it twice. Every person I ask how you doing, I ask it twice because I want to see if their answer changes. You know what I mean, a lot of people are, like I said, a lot of people are hurting, and it's such a feeling question that nobody truly thinks there's any meaning to it. I had asked some dude at work, right, who's a part of the Elemental P community. Don't cancel me. I love you guys. Love is love. Um, I asked bro how he was doing, right, because I saw that I'm a very introspective. That's I'm a very I see people for who they are. I see how I'm an empathic person. I can feel when somebody isn't right. Right. I see this man. You know what I mean? Every day he's very joyful and talking to everybody. Right. And then the 1 week he wasn't. Right. Then nobody else asked him how he was doing, or if they did, they didn't ask twice. I asked bro how he was doing, and he said I'm good. Then I asked again. He said I'm good, but there's more. I said, tell me. And he told me. And little things like that, it builds a deeper connection with somebody. Like he saw me as this not saying much black man who probably don't really give a fuck about nobody but himself or whatever, right? I asked bro how he was doing, and we had a good conversation. That cause I saw the darkness that he was going through, and that darkness is it hurts. You know, these thoughts in our minds that we have, that we create within ourselves is just they're so damaging. We wake up. Some of us wake up depressed, um, hurt, daily basis, just in pain. Now I know for me, before I started this healing journey, my thoughts every day waking up was just psychologically ruining me on a deep level. Um, Pain held me hostage for 20 years of my life, 20 long years, and I refuse to have, refuse to let that pain have a stronghold on me anymore. I refuse to let that pain not allow me to be me, a man with a big ass heart. That's just who I am, and people don't see that, right? Ooh, my brother had told me, my brother that I met like a year and a half ago at work, right? He told me something that stuck with me. He said that I knew we would get along because I could see it in your eyes. I said, "What?" uh, he said, "Your eyes are filled with pain, failure, um, hurt, and that want for betterment." And I said, "Wow." So he told me that right to my face, and he was like, "I have the same eyes, bro." And that man is a stand up nigga, right? But him saying that, like, it made me feel seen. A lot of people don't feel seen right now. They feel like they're alone, that nobody can help them. And it ain't true. It's just the fact that the first person that needs to help you is you. You know, trauma is invisible to the naked eye for most people. I realized that trauma can be seen. My brother saw it. I see it in people. I also feel it from people. And I don't know what it is, but I've had a lot of people vent to me in my life. I've had a lot of people just tell me what goes on in their life, the hurt that they've been through. Like I literally get talk from strangers. I've gotten talks from strangers just sitting down, wanting to have a conversation with me. I don't know where that's from, where that energy is. I don't know what it is, but I've literally had just random people come to me and just tell me their life stories. I remember I was doing Uber Eats driving, and I think I went to a place called Tomoshi, something like that, and I was sitting down waiting for my order. It was taking a long ass time. Some older black woman, you know what I mean, who was clearly hurting, but was driving. I mean, she sat down next to me and she just started talking to me. Right? I just asked, "Are you okay?" And then we got into like a 10-minute conversation about what her life was. You know what I mean? The pain she was feeling on a daily basis because she can't walk, but she also have to provide still, and you know what I mean? Like I be having to decompress sometimes. So I'm an empathic person, but hearing all these stories sometimes they take a toll on me as well. I'm not gonna get too much into this what I'm about to say, but um, one of my ex situationships called me the other day, right? And she called me. I'm trying to figure out the word is. She called me to miss the event. Um, a man that she knew decided that he didn't want to be no longer with us, right? And she felt responsible for it. The thing is, in that with me, like in my thought process in that, and what I told her, she blamed herself, right? I just said a lot of us are going through hurt and pain, and ain't nobody talking about it. And if we can't express it to nobody, then it's just going to fester in within us, and it's just going to take us over at some point. And if it gets to that boiling point, there's some things. Sometimes you really can't do anything to help if somebody else doesn't want to be helped. And if somebody wants to take away what God gave them, there's nothing you could do. I know loss. I know hurt. I know pain. And hopefully, my words that I said to this woman cleared her conscience. There's a there's a big importance to what we say to ourselves, what we think about ourselves. I know there's plenty of young children out there that maybe been through the same things that I've been through. You know what I mean? Being used for intimacy at a young age. Um, their parents split, um, almost dying, maybe, right? Seeing their parents get, seeing their parents in a bad state, and those thoughts that can manifest from that, hmm, they're frightening. They're scary. Those thoughts are the monster under the bed. You know what I mean? They find you when you're awake. They're there when you're asleep. They're in your nightmares. Those thoughts are the things that will kill you, literally and mentally. And there's a lot of young people who just walk this world in pain, right? Little boys, little girls who aren't being taught how to deal with their emotions. That this little child is just spazzing out, having a tantrum. Oh, he's just quiet. She's just quiet. That's all it is. Nah, ain't nobody talking to this child. I know that when I have children, when I'm ready for that, I ain't gonna say I'm gonna be the best father because ain't nobody gonna be perfect. I know I'm not gonna be perfect in that, but the amount of openness and just true honesty and realness that I will be to my child and I will expect back, when it will be unmeasured. Because I know when I was a child and then nobody talked to me, I needed that voice. Right? I know children in my life who've been through things, I just try to help the best way I can by spreading the knowledge that I know because ain't nobody else telling them. You have to look at my notes. You feel me? You have to you have to choose pain. You have to choose. You have to choose to be in pain. You have to choose if you're gonna let that pain take control of you or you're gonna create fuel from it. For a long time, I let pain control me, and I figured out how to use it. My music, my podcast, the way I speak to people now. Don't let pain use you. Don't let pain turn into depression, addiction, isolation, anger, bitterness. That's what I lived in for a long time. Right? Don't let that be your life. 'Cause I tell you right now, it's not fun. I made a song called D&D, right? And that song hard as a bitch, right? But when I tell you, it's on iTunes, by the way. BBS dollar sign Steph. Go ahead, look it up. You feel me? That song D&D is strictly about just depression, bro. Strictly about depression. And when I made that song, I was in depression, and when I finished that song, I was still in depression, but I felt better about the depression. You feel me? Um, like the song go like, I put the phone on D&D. Don't call, don't text, don't follow me. And that's real shit. Like that pain that I felt writing that song, like, but being able to express that, you know what I mean? Finding your muse, whatever that is, if it's painting, if it's drawing, like writing down, whatever it is, you gotta find that. If you can't speak to nobody, you know what I mean? If you can't articulate what you feel to anybody, you gotta articulate it to yourself. There's there's this thing called, well, this book I read, not read, I've read a couple of pages, chapters, uh, called The Artist's Way. And the Artist's Way, there's this thing called the morning pages. Right? And the morning pages is where um, you wake up every morning, you write 3 pages a day, how you feel, or whatever comes into your mind. Usually I just write how I feel. Um, but you can write stories, whatever. I usually just write how I feel. And I've stopped doing that because I'm doing this podcast now. And I'm basically, you know what I mean? I'm more aware of how I'm feeling. And I mean, I don't really need that anymore. But it helped me a lot. You know what I mean? I have documentation of months of what my mental state was as early as what, August 2021. Yeah, dating back to then, I have pages of what my daily life was, what I was feeling in that week, month, year, whatever. I can go back and see how I was feeling and how I'm feeling now. And when I went back to that first page and I saw what I wrote down, the amount of pain, hurt, anger, loneliness I felt, into how I feel now, it's night and day. But I'm telling you, is that you should probably start that. If you don't got nothing, if you don't got no muse to, put your emotions in, you put it on a piece of paper and you write. Because if you don't do that, those thoughts are gonna stay within you. You have to you have to write those words down. Because if you don't, you're gonna question yourself. Why I feel worthless? Why am I in pain? Why am I watching this video? Why am I smoking? Why am I having sex pointlessly? Those questions are going to just keep on piling up, and they're just going to build up, and it's just going to burst into some rage. You know what's fucked up? The most common thing that a man is able to do is be rageful. That's the only emotion that a man can have and not be quote unquote frowned upon on. He's just being a man. I'm speaking from a man's perspective. I don't have the female's perspective on this, but I know when a man is emotional or is able to express his emotions, shit, even cries, he is deemed to be less than. I remember I had cried in front of a woman. Right, pretty sure this is the first time she ever seen a man cry, and the next day she was gone. Like it's like that type of shit, bro. Like, it's fucked up because I can't change who I am. I'm a not an emotional person, but I'm a man who is able to express his emotions, and most men aren't. You know what I mean? Any girl, right? I bet you can find any girl right now. Just think about it. Any girl listening to this, I guarantee you can. If you're feeling fucked up right now, you can call one of your girlfriends and y'all speak all your pains to each other, all your hurt, and be like, yeah, girl, I did this too. Like, yeah, I'm in pain too. Let's go eat about it. Let's go do something. Let's go outside. Let's do right. Us men, when we go do something, we ain't talking about nothing. You know what I mean? Our phone is on D&D. We ain't doing nothing. You feel me? Well, I ain't saying ain't doing nothing, but we ain't doing what we supposed to. You know what I mean? I stopped with the corn. I stopped with the weed because I realized that that was my coping. Right? But other men are still doing that, going through it. You know what I mean? Not realizing why. Right? I used to smoke weed because I thought it made me a better artist. Like, oh yeah, I'm just smoking because you feel me. I'm gonna be a better artist if I do this. You know, it ain't because I'm feeling away. It ain't because I need this emotion to come out of me. You know what I mean? It's not nothing like that. Nah, fuck that. I was hurting, and I was looking for something to make that pain go away. What's it called? What's the word called? Short term. Short term. It was short term healing. That corn, that weed, the food. It was short term. But in the long run, if you're doing that, excuse me, if you're doing that, it will destroy you. But how do we heal? How do we truly heal from what we've been through in our life? I tell you what, the first thing is you gotta start with yourself. You gotta figure out why you're hurting, why you're in pain. Go do your inner child work and see why you're this way. I know for me, the only way I was able to figure out was with meditation. And I know that sounds like some kumbaya shit, but it really helped me. What I had deep locked memories in my mind that I did not know they were still there, that they were controlling me. And meditation made me find those. You know what I mean? And if you don't know how to meditate, I would say start off small. Set a timer for 30 minutes. Go in your bathroom, go wherever. That's a dark spot. Sit in silence. 30 minutes. Let your brain work. And if you don't, nothing happens. Cool. Do it again the next day and the next day. I guarantee you something gonna pop up that you didn't know that was still there. You have to talk to people in order to heal. Whether it's a therapist or somebody that you love and trust, or whether it's just to yourself. But you gotta talk about it. That's what I do with my rap, what I do with this podcast. I talk about it. Do your research. You know, it ain't hard. It ain't really hard to do your research on why you're feeling this way or why you're in pain. You know what I mean? There's plenty of mental health podcasts that you can peep. This is one of them. But you got Lewis Howes, School of Greatness. You got Jay Shetty on Purpose. You got Tim Ross, The Basement. These are real, genuine people who just are trying to help. And those people I inspire to be. I also inspire to be an artist. But if I can make people feel better with my words, well, ain't nothing beating that. But anyway, that has been today's episode on healing. You feel me? I hope everybody that listened to this got something from it. Um, Hopefully, y'all stay blessed. Y'all feel good. Um, live your life. Live today like it's a new day. You know what I mean? Whatever you went through in the past, whatever you went through yesterday, last month, last week, last year, it's a new day. Live your days like that. Stop living in fear. Stop living in hate, pain, hurt. Live the way you want to live it. That's what I'm trying to do. You see this Raven jersey, by the way? I'm glad this shit ain't a vintage. I thought this was about to be a throwback. Thank you, Lamar. Son, we son. But anyway, I am out. Stay blessed. Peace.